Ladies and gentlemen, tonight, June 6th, 2017, and you have entered the dungeon. I am your dungeon dweller, the host of Pillar to Post. My name is Pete Wall, and tonight is your SmackDown Live report. Now, I want to apologize because the overlay is just the Pillar to Post overlay I use for my news, rumors, and etc., etc. I accidentally deleted the temporary one I was using. I have not had time to create another one, so I've got to get my ass moving and create some new overlays for my Raw, SmackDown, and NXT report podcast. So, tonight we're going to stick with this. Now, if you look back at Monday Night Raw's build up towards their last pay-per-view, you would have been bitching a lot, because what did they do? They clusterfucked everything. They threw a bunch of people in together. Here, let's have a fatal five-way. Let's have this. Let's have that. Well, this pay-per-view for SmackDown isn't quite that different. It's actually very similar, because you've got two ladder matches, two Money in the Bank matches, I should state. So you've got 6 men vying for that briefcase. You've got 5 women vying for their briefcase. So very similar, but what they did with the men, we're having singles competition leading up and building up towards Money in the Bank. What we got on Raw, week after week after week, was tag team matches and one single match between the main eventers. Now, I am going to complain because they did cluster the women together tonight in a 6-man or 6-woman tag team match. Can't really be happy with that, because they are not getting enough time as singles competitors. When's the last time we see Naomi in the ring, really, in a good competitive match? She is the champion. We should be seeing her a little bit more than what we are, rather than her just coming down and saying a couple of words and she's done her piece and she's done for the night. She did get a match tonight. She was involved in the 6-woman tag match. Another thing I want to complain about. And I hate complaining, but there is valid points for these complaints, and I know I'm not the only one complaining about this. I'm going bald, and I'm going gray. No, that isn't it. That isn't it. No. My problem. You have a United States champion that has claimed he is the new face of America. He has claimed that he is going to bring change to the U.S. title division, and yet he doesn't defend it at the pay-per-views. He doesn't defend at Raw shows, and tonight showed a good example of what could have been. This could have led up to a match at Money in the Bank for the United States title. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Kevin Owens in the main event tonight. Okay, if this would have been done like a week or two ago, say even now, even tonight with tonight's match, we've got 2 weeks leading in. Now that's not really much to build a storyline, but just listen. If this would have happened a week or two ago, we would have had a nice build-up to a story. Shinsuke Nakamura defeats Kevin Owens on SmackDown Live, and that begins the feud. And then they would have had 4 weeks leading into Money in the Bank, where they could have had Kevin Owens legitimately defend the United States title at Money in the Bank. And it would have been an excellent fight. We've seen just a taste of what these two can do in the ring together. So, they blew that. They completely blew that by putting Kevin Owens in the Money in the Bank title match. Now, where does that bring any prestige or glory or honor to the United States title? It does absolutely nothing for it. And people have complained about this since Kevin Owens was placed in Money in the Bank. So, I doubt that they're going to have Kevin Owens go over. I doubt they're going to have him win the briefcase. But you never know. And then, in the women's division, you have Lana. She's never debuted on SmackDown. She hasn't shown us, the fans, what she can do in that ring. But she wants to be involved in the historic first ever women's Money in the Bank ladder match. What is this ladder? What are the ladder matches meant for? It is to take an up-and-coming superstar and potentially build them up and thrust them into stardom. To thrust them into that main event level and just maybe become heavyweight champion and be the leader on the show, the face of SmackDown or the face of Raw, whatever. Now, I'm sticking with the SmackDown because Money in the Bank is exclusive to SmackDown this year. So, what did they do instead? Instead of saying, yeah, show us what you got in Money in the Bank. You debut Money in the Bank. And, well, maybe, just maybe, she wins Money in the Bank and gets thrust in spotlight. No. No, what happens, Naomi begs Shane McMahon to give her a match at Money in the Bank versus Lana for the women's title. How the fuck does that make sense? Instead of putting a legitimate contender, a woman that has been there, has earned her spot, and earned the right to be called number one contender. No. They pick someone that hasn't even debuted. See, that should have happened in the Money in the Bank ladder match. That, Lana debuting in Money in the Bank ladder match, that I could have understood. That I could have really understood. Not, I wouldn't have agreed with it because, yes, she hasn't debuted yet. We haven't seen what she can do in the ring. But it would have made more sense than her automatically getting a title shot at the champion and not having earned that spot. Not having earned that right or the respect from the other women in order to face the champion. We got this bullshit now. So what happens at Money in the Bank if Lana just happens to win against Naomi? What happens? We've got a champion that is untested. We've got a champion that has no respect from the other women in the locker room. We have no respect from the fans. Yes, the fans were cheering for her, and I can understand why. She looked fucking hot in that dress. Okay, I'm going to cheer for Lana too if she were to come down the aisle and looking like she did and chant, "We want Lana." Of course, because we want to see her take that dress off and see what she's hiding underneath. Of course, we're going to chant, "We want Lana." But they wanted Lana for Money in the Bank, not Money in the Bank ladder match, not for a shot at the SmackDown women's title. That was undeserving. So, by chance, Lana gets the victory at Money in the Bank. We've got a champion that has no legitimate reason to be champion other than stupidity. Is she going to get the backing from the fans? Well, probably, because the fans love her. She's hot. But that's the only reason. Now, I'm hoping she's got some skill behind her, because if she don't, and that match really blows come Money in the Bank, we're all going to be one big pissed off community around YouTube. Hell, the entire WWE universe is going to be pissed off. So, those are my main complaints about tonight's show. They didn't make sense. Leading into Money in the Bank, it should be Shinsuke Nakamura versus Kevin Owens. And it would have been good if Kevin Owens would have continued his winning victory over Kevin Owens. Shinsuke Nakamura would have continued his winning ways over Kevin Owens come Money in the Bank. He wins his first title on SmackDown. It builds him up slowly. It isn't just bang, he's thrust in the main event card. I don't see a reason for it. Okay? Certain people need slow builds. Baron Corbin is another guy. He should have gone through and won the United States title before being thrust into the main event cards, going against the WWE champion. That should not have happened. So, those are my complaints. Now, we had some good matches tonight. I said already the main event was a pretty damn good match. Kevin Owens versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Good match. AJ Styles versus Dolph Ziggler. Good match. You know what? The tag team match, not too bad. I wouldn't say great. I'm going to say not too bad. Okay, we had some good points in the show. I'm not a fan of the 6-woman tag team match because, frankly, it's overdone. This is their way of making sure that all the women get shown on the show, and I do appreciate that, but there are better ways. Okay, we had some promos done tonight that could have been taken away and given a shot to some of these women for singles competition instead of running like the Sami Zayn segment, because just, you know, coincidentally there was all those ladders at hand to be used against them in the segment. So yes, it leads into Money in the Bank, but still could have been used for another match for these women instead of always with the 6-woman tag matches. I'm getting tired of it, and so are the other fans. So let's move on with the show. Now, before we do so, I want to talk to you about the sponsors of Pillar to Post. Now, today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. You can get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/Pillar2Post. Now, they have over 200,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player, and any other traveling devices you might have that you can download audiobooks onto and play them. You can take these to the gym, on a long car ride, camping. It doesn't matter what you're doing. This is a good way to get yourself a free audiobook of your choosing. They have all the genres you can think of, be it autobiographies, be it wrestling related, be it fantasy fiction, science fiction, romance. It doesn't matter. They have what you want. Now, if you take advantage of the link I provide you in the description below, which I already stated, audibletrial.com/Pillar2Post, you get your free audiobook automatically, plus an option. You can have your 30-day free trial with it. But if you don't, and you want to cancel your subscription the same day, you still keep your audiobook. Now, I want you guys, all the viewers of the show, to take advantage of this offer because it helps the show out, it helps Audible out, and you get something in return for it. Take advantage of it. I want to see these numbers climb this month, okay? I want to see a legitimate impact on the growth and you guys getting your free audiobook from my link, okay? Audible's doing me a big favor here. I'm doing you a big favor by supplying you the link. Take advantage of it. Help this channel grow. Also, starting tomorrow night, I begin uploading once again to my Patreon. Now, this way, if you want to pledge, you can pledge for as low as $1 a month to become a patron on my Patreon page. And what that does for you is you get all my stuff 12 hours before anyone else on YouTube does. Also, that helps the show. Because right now I'm getting nothing. I am earning no money from YouTube because wrestling content is restricted. It is basically a no-go here on YouTube, and we're trying to change that. And I'm going to be adding a link to try and change that. It is a petition to get wrestling-related content removed from the restricted list, and finally we get adverts placed back on our work, and we start seeing a difference in growth. Because right now we're not even being listed. When you search for stuff, we're not even being listed in the search tool. That's not a good thing, people, okay? That does not help me out. I went from a growing channel to a plateau because no one is finding my work anymore. No one is finding my channel anymore. It is my subscribers, and when I share my link out to Twitter and Facebook and all the other places I share my link, that is the only way people are finding my work. And it is harder to reach and build a community this way. So sign the petition, okay? Now, What Culture Pro Wrestling, thankfully, had their live streaming access granted back to them, as well as their last televised or YouTube televised show placed back on YouTube. I love that. That's a good sign that YouTube is starting to work with us. So please, when you see the link in the description below, click on it. Go sign that petition. It is not a hard thing to do. Support your wrestling community by doing this because it helps us all. Now, I was talking about my Patreon. You can find that in the description below, as well as my Teespring Store, where you can find Pillar to Post merchandise, as well as Circle of Steel merchandise. You can find my Facebook merchandise page as well, and my Facebook author page, as well as my Facebook link in the description below. My Patreon is patreon.com/pillar2post. Also, you can find my VidMe link, and it is vid.me/pillar2post, and that's in the description below. Also, I want to start doing sub-stories, and be it wrestling related, be it stories about yourself where you've overcome obstacles in life that have made you a better person. Send those to me if you want me to read them here on Pillar to Post. We're going to start having a sub-story section when I start seeing those letters come in to my email, and that is steeldragon1234@hotmail.com. I'm going to start airing those when I do my Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday Pillar to Post episodes. So, we're done with all that stuff. Let's move on to SmackDown Live. I appreciate you guys taking the time to go through this with me. Now, let's move on. So, Shane McMahon welcomes us to SmackDown Live and is joined by all 5 women competing in the first ever Women's Money in the Bank match at this month's pay-per-view. Now, he introduces all 5 of them individually before revealing a brand new white and gold Money in the Bank briefcase that will hang above the ring. James Ellsworth cuts off Shane and tells him to stop mansplaining to all the women how this match works. Carmella tries to speak but is cut off by the Queen. Now, they all go around in circles talking about why they're all going to win. Natalya says Charlotte is ripping off her dad. Becky Lynch says Natalya is ripping off her Uncle Brett. And pretty much business is business as usual. Now, Tamina Snuka tells them all they talk too much, and she's going to enjoy shutting them all up by winning Money in the Bank. Now, SmackDown Women's Champion Naomi cuts them all off and gets her full entrance. She talks about how big of an opportunity this is for all of them and wishes she could participate in the first ever Women's Money in the Bank ladder match because it's going to be lit. But wait, we've got another person coming down to the ring. Obviously, they did beat blah, 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 blah. Sorry about that. My tongue's getting twist-tied. I need a drink. The ravishing Russian is finally on SmackDown Live. Lana makes her way to the ring in a bright blue sequins dress, looking ridiculously hot, and the crowd greets her with a loud Lana chant. Now, Shane McMahon says SmackDown is the land of opportunity, but he's just not feeling this yet. Lana tells him if it works for her, she can make it work for him. And Naomi starts laughing hysterically. Now, she tells Lana she's never beaten anyone and hasn't even had a singles match as of yet on SmackDown. Shane tells her she needs to earn her spot. This is where I don't agree with. And the Ravishing One storms off in a fit as the crowd boos and chants, "We want Lana." She's supposed to earn her shot. Wouldn't that be where she earns her shot at Money in the Bank? She maybe has a debut match next week and the following week leading into Money in the Bank. And then, she's kind of earned her shot to be in Money in the Bank. That I could have seen. But now she gets an automatic fucking push to the title in the women's division. Makes no sense to me at all. The intro to this show, big waste of time. Okay? I don't care what color the fucking briefcase is that holds the contract for Money in the Bank. I don't think any one of us really does. That they had to have it draped in a black velvet sash to hide it and reveal it to us all, that was ridiculous. What does it matter what color the briefcase is? Okay? It was a white and gold and green fucking briefcase. Big fucking deal. This segued into the 6-woman tag team match. Becky Lynch, Naomi, and Charlotte versus Carmella, Natalya, and Tamina Snuka. And this match was very much similar to all the matches we've seen from these women already. There was distraction causing, someone to get caught off guard. And the match ended with Tamina Snuka super kicking, who was it? Naomi, and getting the win. So your winners, Tamina Snuka versus Natalya and Carmella. I'm not going full bore into this match because it's very similar, like I said, to every 6-woman tag team match we've seen leading up to this one. They need to change it up. Okay? Lana could have just as easily stepped in the ring on this one and made her debut in a 6-woman tag. Okay? At least it would have been a little bit different. We would have had at least a different woman involved. It's been done. It's been done and done and done and done. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Cut it out with the women's division, okay? It's good to see them all on television, but it doesn't always need to be this type of match. The Ravishing Russian, Lana, was the one that interfered and basically, wiped Naomi off the apron and by hooking her leg, and then that followed up to Snuka giving her the super kick. Bada bing, bada boom. There's your winners. Tamina Snuka, Natalya, and Carmella. Now, up next is a backstage segment. Shane McMahon finds the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal statue just standing there. Now, Mojo Rawley comes up to him and vents his frustrations about being benched for the last 2 months. He says winning at WrestleMania was the greatest moment of his life. But he's the only person that's beaten Jinder Mahal since he came to SmackDown Live. And he says he deserves to be used. And if not, he'll find someone who'll use him. Now Shane agrees that and puts him in a match against Jinder tonight. And if he can beat the champion, he'll be added to the Money in the Bank ladder match. Now there's another point that doesn't make sense to me. If he wins and defeats the champion, that would automatically make him the next in line for a title shot. That would say, well, he could easily argue, I just beat the champion of SmackDown. Put me in the match of Money in the Bank and make it a 3-way. Make it a triple threat between Jinder Mahal and Randy Orton and myself. Because beating the champion means you just beat the fucking champion. So how is that making sense to put him against the champion and say if he won, then he can be in the Money in the Bank? We already got 6 men in there. What are they going to have? Odd man out? So they're going to have, Mojo Rawley as the 7th man. Well, that wouldn't make sense. So then they're going to have to find an 8th man to make it an even match. They're not going to do that. So you can already tell his situation for later tonight. Up next, a very good match, I have to say, AJ Styles versus Dolph Ziggler. Now, these guys, they know how to put on a good show. And last week, we had Dolph Ziggler outsmart AJ Styles. AJ Styles was going for a springboard forearm. Ziggler managed to hit the ropes and crotch AJ Styles, hit him with a super kick to the side of the head, picked up the victory. This week, would AJ Styles get his revenge? Let's find out. So they go back and forth from the start, trading right hands as Styles launches into a series of elbows and stiff strikes. Neither takes total control, going move for move as we go to another commercial break. Now they're still trading moves, going back and forth as the show comes back from the ads. Ziggler almost stole the match with his feet on the ropes, but the referee caught it in time. Now Styles went to argue with the referee, asking what happened, and got caught with the zigzag, but managed to get his shoulders up just in time. Now AJ comes back and hits a Pele kick, goes for the phenomenal forearm, but comes up empty. More back and forth until eventually Styles finally connects with the Styles Clash and picks up the win and gets his revenge on Dolph Ziggler. Now there was a moment at the end of this match, AJ Styles went to go for his springboard forearm, or as he calls it, the phenomenal forearm. And he's seen Ziggler was going to attempt the same thing he did last week. So he psyched Ziggler out. Instead of landing on that top rope to springboard, he just dropped himself straight back down the apron, nails Ziggler with a forearm to the face, and then hits him in the gut with a shoulder, flips over, and instead of going for a pin, he just rolls straight through it and hooks in the Styles Clash, lands the Styles Clash. Your winner, AJ Styles. Was a pretty damn good match. Now, I'm not going to say it's the best match I've seen of the two, but for what they did on SmackDown Live tonight, it was a pretty damn good match. It excited the fans were behind them, and that's what you want to hear. Up next, Mojo Rawley versus your WWE Champion and modern day Maharaja, Jinder Mahal. But before that, going in for a drink. I'm going to tell you right now, this match is not very good. It did not make Jinder Mahal look dominant, and it did not go in any way to make Mojo Rawley look any better than he usually does. He is your basic wrestler. He knows your basic moves, and that's about all. So let's break into it. So Jinder has an amazing new entrance, and his graphics on the Tron look really cool as he makes his way down, and it did. I appreciated what they did. As he's walking out, right behind his footsteps, you see this carpet roll out, this Persian carpet roll out behind him, and then makes its way down the ramp. Now, looks pretty good. The new tune sounded pretty damn good. I liked it. It fits his character, you know? It fits his character, so I can appreciate what they did with it. Now, Rawley went after the champion immediately, backing him into the ropes and going crazy as soon as the bell rang. The Singh brothers came to Jinder Mahal's aid, and they took a breather on the outside. Rawley got caught with a big boot and few very stiff elbows. Now this one didn't last long as Jinder went on the attack and put the challenger away with the Colossus in just a few minutes. Like I said, didn't do any good for either of these men. Made Jinder look actually a little bit weak because he went out to the outside a couple of times to basically take a breather, as well as, you know, stay away from his challenger a little bit. Made him look like he was a cheap champion, you know. Now after the match, Jinder trashes the local crowd and says he's crushed their dreams just like he's going to crush the dreams of Randy Orton at Money in the Bank. Not a great promo, but the crowd chanted USA throughout it. He then spoke in his Punjabi tongue, and that's that, you know. Basically, your usual rant from Jinder Mahal. I didn't care for it. You know, I've already made myself clear on the whole thing. The whole racial thing does not work for me. Okay, it's 2017. Look at all the crap that's come from the racist comments and the racial slurs and all this other bullshit. It just never seems to end, and then you want to have this on your WWE programming. New Day. New Day finally make their debut on SmackDown Live in a match against the Colognes. Now, when I say debut, I don't mean just in the back running their mouths. I mean actually having a match. And I didn't mind the match too much, okay? It looked competitive. It, had the fans cheering. Fans seem to cheer regardless for the New Day. I don't really understand. I'm tired of their whole gimmick already. I'd like to see a darker New Day. Something a little bit different. But we wouldn't be having the Usos versus the New Day at Money in the Bank then, now would we? So it's Xavier Woods and Big E teaming for the New Day in this one. Now, as Kofi Kingston cheers them on from the outside, the Colognes got in 0 offense at the start as Woods took control of Epico. He then tagged in Big E to just manhandle him, and E put him in a side stretch, and Woods came in to cut off Primo from interfering and put him in the same hold. Now, as the two started slapping their butts, finally the referee made them stop, and Xavier started playing the trombone as we went into a commercial break. Now, during the break, the Colognes double-teamed Woods and threw him into the ring post to finally get a small advantage in the match. They kept cutting off the hot tag until Big E finally made the hot tag and wrecked both brothers, running through them with ease. Now, I'm saying brothers, but I'm pretty sure I think they're cousins, but I don't know for sure. They run through them with ease. Now, they tried to double-team the big man, but they easily shook it off and hit the midnight hour to pick up the win. Your winners, the debuting New Day here on SmackDown. Now the trio celebrate their win in the ring until the Usos come out and welcome them to the Uso Penitentiary. The twins talk some fairly unintelligible trash, running down each of them one by one. They talk about, the New Day wants to joke. We can joke. So they make a joke out of each and every member of New Day. Now, it's very intense promo, but I have no idea what they're talking about, really. And something day one-ish, as always. The two teams stare each other down as we build towards the tag team title match at Money in the Bank. Now, the promos are very hard to understand, especially when you're trying to jot down what they're saying. You start losing your focus when the way they talk, how fast they're going, and what they're actually saying. And by the time they're done, I can't remember almost a single word they've said except for "Welcome to the Usos Penitentiary," and then they end it with "It's not paranoia, it's the Usos." Okay, those are the only things I can remember from the Usos promos, because they go off in a just on a string of fast freaking speaking, and they're not very clear or pronunciated, and then at the end of it, they end it with their usual quote, and it's done, and I've forgotten what they said. It sounds good, it sounds exciting, it gets the fans going, but when they're done, I can't remember shit, okay? So, it's not a good promo to me. Not a good promo at all. We get a backstage interview with Sami Zayn, and he talks about his longtime relationship with Kevin Owens and how there's nothing about him that he doesn't know heading into Money in the Bank. However, the one guy he can't figure out is Shinsuke Nakamura. He talks about how Nakamura employs all these movements and gestures and strange personality quirks to distract you from how hard he hits. Tonight, he's going to sit ringside for their match to get a first-hand look at what to expect from Shinsuke Nakamura. Now, Baron Corbin comes out of nowhere and basically excuses the interviewer, I believe it was Charlie Caruso, and asks if he can ask Sami Zayn a question. Well, that leads to a shot in the face, and then he's thrown, Sami Zayn is thrown into a ladder, and then he's thrown into another ladder. So, there you go, your basic attack from Baron Corbin, and then he says, it looks like there's been a spot open up on the commentary table. So, we have now Baron Corbin joining ringside for the Shinsuke Nakamura versus Kevin Owens match. Now, like I said at the top of the show, very convenient that there's ladders out and about. I'm not a fan of Sami Zayn's promos, okay? He flies off at it's almost like he's just, Speedy Gonzalez on that. He doesn't know how to just put his hands down. He doesn't know how to slow it down a little bit. And this seemed like more like he was putting over Shinsuke Nakamura, and instead he should have taken the time to put over himself. So, how does that make sense? Building yourself up towards Money in the Bank when you're building up your opponent. Made no sense to me at all. So that segued into your main event of the night. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Kevin Owens. And like I said, this would have been the perfect match if this would have happened like a week or two ago to build up into a feud towards Money in the Bank, and then these two collide at Money in the Bank for the United States title. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Kevin Owens for the U.S. title at Money in the Bank would have sounded a hell of a lot better than these two being placed in Money in the Bank. I don't want to see Shinsuke Nakamura in a 6-man ladder match. I don't want to see Kevin Owens in a 6-man ladder match when he's got the United States title. Now, if he didn't have that title, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But once again, we get your mid-card title underutilized, disrespected, and just left to the wayside with someone just carrying it around their waist and thinking it makes them a better wrestler and a better man than his competitors because he's wearing a title that he doesn't have to defend. Now, did that take away from this match? No, it was a great match. I enjoyed this match. And it's something, like I said, I could have seen leading into a big thing at Money in the Bank. But it's wasted on us. It's wasted on us for the fact that these two are being thrown into the Money in the Bank, and that U.S. title is being underutilized once again. Now, Owens went after the artist's arm after a lockup at the start of the match. But Nakamura breaks free and outmaneuvered the bigger champion, adding salt to the wound by taunting Owens. Now, Owens goes after him, but gets kicked to the floor as we go to our first break. And it was the final break of the evening, which was a good thing. Now, after the break, Owens is in complete control, punching away at the challenger on the mat and maintaining control with a side headlock. Baron Corbin has joined commentary and is trashing Sami Zayn and threatening Byron Saxton every time he brings up that Sami has gotten the better of him in matches recently. Now, Nakamura breaks the hold and hits a single leg drop kick, firing up and launching a series of kicks and quick palm strikes. He follows up with a running knee in the corner, putting Owens up on the top rope and catching him with another big running knee to the midsection. The champion takes a cheap shot and gets a bit of space, following up with a cannonball splash in the corner. Baron Corbin replied to or commented on this and asked if it wasn't more of a marshmallow instead of a cannonball. Now he tries for the pop-up powerbomb, but Nakamura catches himself on the ropes with it and delivers a huge kick and adds to it with an exploder suplex. That is followed up by your Kinshasa, and Shinsuke Nakamura takes the victory and gets the 1-2-3 over your United States champion Kevin Owens. Like I said, this would have been a perfect way for these two to meet at Money in the Bank for the United States champion. But it's a waste. Now, after the match, Shinsuke Nakamura is celebrating. He's basically pointing up at the briefcase high above. Baron Corbin hits the ring and lays out Nakamura with End of Days and poses in the ring to close out the show. So that was your SmackDown Live report. This is Pillar to Post. I am your host, Pete Wall. And I want you to do me a favor. If you have yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button. Hit the little bell that gives you notifications every time I upload or go live. And also hit that like button. Now, like I said, there are all those links in the description below, as well as that petition link is being added. So make sure you check that out, people. Support wrestling content here on YouTube.com. VidMe followers, please upvote. Always upvote. Okay, if you've enjoyed the show, show your appreciation. Upvote. Always. Tell me, what did you think about SmackDown Live tonight? In the comments below. Let's get a discussion started. What were your detractors from tonight? What are your pluses and minuses of the show? Let's talk about it in the comments below. I want to try and get interactive with you guys. Help a guy out, start a conversation here. So that is Pillar to Post tonight. Like I said, it's June 6th, 2017. Tomorrow, NXT. And I will be having the results and review show following that show immediately after NXT is over. Also, there will be a download, an upload to Patreon. Get it involved tomorrow on Patreon. Remember, you can pledge for as low as $1. Help support this podcast with a $1 donation. That's all it is. A $1 donation. It's a 1 month, every month, $1. Okay? It helps support the channel. It helps me do new things with this channel. So, thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate all the subscribers, viewers, and followers I've got here on YouTube and VidMe. Have a great night, people. I've enjoyed myself. I hope you enjoyed yourself.